My name's Lindsay Sargent, and I'm connected to the Farm Lab project through my relationships at Lakehead as an instructor in the Faculty of Education in Environmental Education and in Science, Curriculum Instruction in Science with first and second year BEd students.
I'm Christina Petsetis, and I've been involved with the Lakehead community and the community gardens, I would say on and off, for the better part of almost 10 years.
Hello, my name is Deanne. Any pronouns are okay. And my connection to Farm Labs is that I've just been around.
The way we have things set up, this learning is taking place in the fall, and so students recognize that, and that's valuable learning too, because when they're going into teaching situation, thinking about that whole year and how garden-based learning has to be set up to take place over the course of the year. What are we doing in the fall? What are we doing in the winter? What are we thinking about in the spring? It's that cyclical thinking that we're trying to encourage.
Flowers are my favorite. I'm a big flower lover. I was really excited with all of the cosmos and the sunflowers that I saw in August and September of this year at the Farm Lab, so that was really fun and beautiful for me.
I've been really appreciating just learning because I really have never been in a farm space, like hardly even a garden before. So it's been really lovely to come whenever, however I can, and just help out in any way.
My favorite delicacy, ground cherries. Students especially will often ask, what are those? What are those? They're just lovely and delicious. I've snacked on ground cherries, pasta dishes to add a bit of sweetness. I've added them to salads, ground cherries in homemade salsa. So definitely a big fan of ground cherries. A few people have not liked the ground cherries as much as me, but that is okay. The point is they tried. Just trying new things in the community gardens.
Of the things in the gardens that stand out, I think are the community spaces, like the benches. This farm just got a bench from the Boy Scouts, I believe, and really nice bench, and I've had little interviews on it and such, and just sitting after or before a hard day's work is really nice.
Any of the gardens are great as long as I'm with kind of the right people.
Without the students, there would not really be a place because a lot of students come and help out with it.
That's something else that students recognize, is that it's a community building place where they can really get to know people in a different way than they would in a classroom when they're working alongside them with their hands in the dirt or they're picking seeds together. It's a different kind of relationship that you build that way.
This is something already in the works, but I am excited for our little cider gathering here in the Coop House, and just meeting some other people that I haven't had the opportunity to meet, because I always used to come Sunday mornings and other people came at other times and we never had any overlap. So I am excited to meet other folks. And I've also met so many people from other programs and people outside of the university community.
So I learned about the project and thought it would be wonderful to include it in environmental education at the time. And then this year we also incorporated it into the curriculum instruction in science through some seed saving initiatives. With the first year science students, in past years, we've done an assignment that is like the traditional bean experiment, where students get a set of bean seeds and they're encouraged to manipulate certain variables and see how those beans grow. The beans were eventually dying, especially if certain variables were like water was omitted or not, beans weren't given enough water. And students were also doing the assignment on their own. There wasn't a lot of sharing of knowledge going on. Everyone was learning about beans. So there wasn't a lot of diversity. So we started thinking of different ways that we could approach this so that students could learn more about the diversity of seeds that exist, about local seeds, how they can start to build a relationship with these seeds through learning about them, and how they can share their knowledge. And then also a connection to the Farm Lab project. So there's the seed library at the university here that was started, and it's a collection of seeds that people can come and take and use to grow things in their home gardens or their school gardens. So students were, in essence, were challenged to choose a seed from the seed library of their choice, to research that seed, and then to choose a set of that seed to find out if they were viable. So to do some germination tests on them to see if that seed set was viable, if it should stay in the library, or if perhaps it was too old and the seeds weren't viable anymore. So they had to design an experiment. Once they had the information, they found out the germination rate, that was shared back into a database that is now linked to the seed library. So it was really trying to encourage community learning and sharing of knowledge in science, rather than that more individual, I've done it, I've met the outcomes, and now I'm moving on. And it was really neat to see the students' reactions. They were really, they shared a lot of information amongst one another, their successes, their failures, what they had learned about the seed in general, where it came from, its uses. Now, in the future, next year, we're going to try to take it one step further and have those students be involved in seed collection here. So this year we brought the seeds to them, but hopefully next year they will come and find seeds here that they can save and include in that library. And so we're going to try to evolve the project a little bit more for future years.
In terms of like reaction and like big reaction that is really satisfying to like engage in and see, that usually happens like September, October, you know, when kind of harvest is still happening and like quite plentiful and bountiful, actually. Yeah,
we had a fall harvest event, and it was really nice to have people walking through, coming and seeing the farm and getting really excited about its presence. We got lots of good produce.
I'm talking like 15 containers of tomatoes in like 2 hours, just from the Farm Lab.
I took a few cabbages, some nibbled on by our little rabbit visitors, but it's okay, we just cut some parts off. I also would often take the kale and onions. Our kale was like a little forest. You know, you felt like a giant walking through.
Ground cherries, just like
peppers. I did take some miscellaneous peppers one day. The potatoes, the giant rutabaga.
Who harvested it in the end? Or is it still there?
I don't know, but it was
huge.
massive. It was bulging out of the ground.
Yeah.
Spring is exciting too, but definitely not all this snow. I mean, it's great for lighting, but stuff still grows.
Kale in December. Grown outdoors. In Orillia. We just planted a bed of garlic. Planting garlic, December 12th. Daniel and Jacob. We got some onions here I was thinking about digging up. There's also some arugula. That's our leeks that are overwintering. You might want to actually throw down some more soil over top of them. And there's our tatsoi there. Could be harvested still. And our collard greens. I just harvested a red cabbage. Here's my red cabbage. Harvested earlier. Harvested 4 bunches of kale.
You know, actually in the hoop house, there's rainbow chard and some other things currently growing. I haven't checked on them though, so don't get your hopes up. Sorry, I just like breaking the fourth wall.
With the environmental education students, we use the gardens as a provocation. So they come during their field trips. Like we have a field trip every week, and one of the field trips is to the Lakehead Gardens and the Farm Lab project. And they're encouraged to explore, to participate. Maybe that's through seed collection, because we're often here in the fall, or harvesting, or maybe tasting, and sharing what they know about certain plants that they recognize. We spend some time in the gardens, and then afterwards hold a knowledge building circle, a big discussion about gardening and food in general, and how that might connect to learning, environmental education, and teaching. And then a lot of students end up choosing to pursue that. So one of their assignments is a passion project, and it's remarkable to me how many of them choose, with the choice of choosing anything as a passion project, to learn more about food, maybe community-based gardening or school-based gardening, or traditional medicine. And I think that comes from being here and experiencing it. So I think the experience of being able to learn in a garden is really powerful for those student teachers, and hopefully will inspire them in the future to pursue more, perhaps with their own students in classrooms that they end up in. Overall, I think students leave with a really big sense of hope, and they need that hope right now. They need that hope because we're in a pretty changing world. So they see it as overall, I think, a very hopeful experience. I'm quite excited about the idea of the Farm Lab project growing over time.
In the future, just on a grander scale, I would like to see more support, like from the university.
Let's have benches. Let's make it cozy. Let's make it communal. Let's have visioning sessions, teach-ins, another hoop house.
I think it's building community.
If it's more communal, if it's an open-minded place of learning and growing and nurturing community and biodiversity and thinking and talking about the environment, then I'm all for that. That's my vision and my hope.
Oftentimes when I think about the B.Ed program, students are going to do placements in various schools, but it would be fascinating to have this be a working farm where student teachers could see students engaging and experiencing this farm, and then the food potential of it as well, like growing local food and being a part of that, I think would be really empowering to folks, students, and educators, community members alike, everyone, with what's going on in the world right now, and food insecurity, and just like I mentioned, people's lack of understanding of food systems and everything that's involved. People have a lot of questions. So I think it's for Lakehead University, there is a lot of potential